Hey everybody, Nerd at Heart here. So this is a special little thing that we're putting together. Um, particularly because we can't be nerds at heart if we can't address the passing of James Earl Jones. He's one of these guys that you know, uh, that have just been kind of around my whole life. You always had a James Earl Jones, that voice, that resonance, that uh, that presence that he held on screen. And we just want to take a moment and just really talk about how much we appreciate this man because he's not, you know, he may have passed on, but he's still here in all of his works. And the truth of the matter is that James Earl Jones isn't just a national treasure, he is a world treasure, and he will continue to be even beyond his passing. I was talking to Patrick, my co-host on the show, and I was telling him about all of the things that I remember James Earl Jones from, because I saw a skit recently where basically everybody uh, talked about like his impact on Gen X, his impact on millennials and stuff like that based off of whatever he was doing at the time. And and I feel blessed that basically I had the privilege of seeing it all. And then there was an exorbitant amount of work prior to to Star Wars that James Earl Jones has done. Like I think it was The Great White Hope. I remember I was thinking about this and I talked about it like this cheesy little horror movie. Uh, I think it was called The Ambulance. And James Earl Jones played, I think, kind of like a detective or something along that lines. It's been a while since I've seen it, so I'm just kind of throwing out what I remember from it. And I just remember he had this affectation that his character was always chewing gum, and he was killed in the movie. And I just remember him getting hit by the ambulance. Now I'm talking about like, because this wasn't those big box ambulances everybody's aware of. This was when they were still using hearses. Um, you know, uh, they might have used the same car for the Ecto One. When Ghostbusters came out around in '84. But anyways, regardless, he, you know, uh, it's just one of those things. You knew he was getting older. You'd see him in interviews here and there. And I guess the last thing that he really did was a reprise of his character in Coming to the numeral America, sequel to Coming to America, from the '80s. One of my favorite movies, by the way. I could spout and talk about that for ages with, I mean, not just him, the ruler of Zamunda, um, this beautiful idealized kingdom in Africa. But, I mean, you had Eddie Murphy, you had Arsenio Hall, you even had a brief cameo. I mean, not then a cameo, then a younger working actor in Jackson. Got Jones on the brain. A younger working actor of Samuel Jackson. It's just it's a fantastic movie. For some of you guys who are younger, please go check it out. I swear it's really worth it. We actually have a lot of people who have passed away that were involved in that movie. Some people who are surprisingly still around. But James Earl Jones, I think that was maybe the last thing he was to have voiced Darth Vader and Kenobi, and I'm trying to remember my timeline here. Um, One or the other was his last performance, but he really brought depth and wonder to these characters, and I haven't even really talked about like Lion King. I mean, come on. He's Mufasa. Now they have a new Mufasa movie. So I wonder if some of his presence may be felt in that, that we may get some work still coming from Mr. Jones. Now the reports are that Star Wars has recorded his voice for AI. So strangely, he's not gone in in that sense. Though we will miss the human being that is James Earl Jones. From all accounts, he was a fantastic guy to work with. He was, I love watching the interviews, and honestly, a lot of interviews that have been coming up lately that I hadn't seen before, and I think they're great. It's just I wish I'd seen more of this, especially him talking about being Darth Vader. Um, I think I posted on there a short or a reel on the Facebook page that uh, I thought was a fantastic interview in his reaction to the "I'm your father" speech that Vader gives Luke, in Bespin, and it's just, he said, he thought that Vader was lying, you know, it's like he's lying, how are they going to resolve this? And, well, that's all history now. I don't want to take too much time with this. I just want to make, kind of my feelings felt. Um, we have an episode, we talk about that a little bit more, as Patrick and myself, um, and that comes out on Monday. And we discuss a bit about James Earl Jones, because I told him I was going to release this as well, because I feel like this has to be said. You can't be, you know, a nerd, a nerd at heart, if in some ways James Earl Jones has not impacted you, whether it be, Disney nerd with his Mufasa or I mean, also, I think, because I was also with Disney as The Sandlot. So, I mean, he's worked with Disney on a few rounds. I mean, well, now technically Star Wars as well, but prior to Disney, Star Wars being owned by Disney, Star Wars was just Lucasfilm. And, and you're talking about from 1977 voicing this character, and then, getting to Empire Strikes Back, where he talks about it a bit in an interview where he gets to be a little bit more nuanced with the character. And, you know, it's because of his portrayal, that we get the opportunity to have a villain like Vader sound redeemable. And I mean, that's just something that he did with his voice. Uh, when we heard that he had passed on the ninth, I believe, on the ninth, actually, it's right there. I remember, I was sitting right next to Patrick, and Patrick, he was quite taken aback. And but the thing is that the more I think about it, the more it hits me. He was just an interesting person, uh, and to listen to him talk, I mean, not just a voice, but as the words he said, he was really good. And now there's also, I mean, my goodness, there's also, from 1968, I believe, there's an episode of Sesame Street where you hear the man just read the alphabet. I mean, and no craziness. It's not like he's singing and a dancing and having a fun. He's just saying the alphabet, and he makes it interesting. And that tells you a lot about him. I would have loved to see more of his Shakespearean stuff, you know, because man, I would have loved to see him do a Macbeth or, something like that. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Shakespeare as well. I mean, man, just to have him quoting Shakespeare with that timbre that he had, um, you know, he will be missed. And but the thing is that we're richer for of having had him in our lives. And we're richer for having you in our lives, and hopefully everybody understands that. But this man was a treasure. He is a treasure, not just to just us, but the world at large. And he will be missed. So James Earl Jones, thank you so much for what you offered us. and what you've given us of yourself. Love you guys. Remember that. Okay? This is all about love. This is all about love of being nerds. And you have a good day and see you down the road sometime.